Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Craig.
All right, guys, we are back, and we are going to try this again. Episode 57 of Final Score here on Facebook Live. Happy Mother's Day edition. Definitely hope this will work out better than what we just tried to do. But let's go ahead and try this again. But first, I have my co-host, Craig. Craig, good to see you still back with us.
Hey, I think we're back finally. I mean, I don't know what it is about the internet today. We've had struggles. Like, I was streaming on Twitch some of the Jordan challenges, say from NBA 2K11, taking it back. And I dropped my stream like 3 times today, and it looks like finally the planets have aligned and we can actually maybe have a show. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, if worse comes to worse, at least we have the recorded version of this, so, you know, you guys just watch it tomorrow. But at the end of the day, though, we still have 2 other guys with us. First and foremost, George DeMoyo, the Couch Dads Podcast, 90 Miles Media, and Flintstone Media. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Once again, yes, internet's been given all kinds of crazy trouble. I made a small joke, and I think I'm gonna bring it back because I think somebody's out there hacking away, being like, you boys will not have fun on Mother's Day right now. You will not. It might be my grandma. I don't know. It might be Abuela just sitting there hacking away. She's pretending like she doesn't know anything about computers, but, you know, she's a hacker in her own right. Those are the ones that get you. But a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, second moms, athlete moms, grandmas, my love of my life, my wife, who, you know, with the 3 kids, has been holding down the fort even more than they usually are with this whole quarantine that we're all dealing with. You know, some of us are working double shifts and doing whatever we can, and the moms are, you know, working, they're teaching, they're being a dance instructor, a karate instructor, they're going super mom into Saiyan levels, man, or Scion levels, whatever the hell that Dragon Ball Z dude is.
So random.
But, you know, it's just completely random. That's how my mind works, boys. But I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, of course, we have also the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kevin Wathen of the Rugby Review, coming in with his prowess and expertise. How you doing, bud?
A little bit tired, but it's all right. We're going to push through. For those of you guys that are listening early, I had a early start today, cooking breakfast for Mama Dukes herself. Chris, she says hi to you. Got to spend some time with her this morning. Moved along to my father-in-law's house and got to celebrate his birthday today. So shout out to Robbie Smith. Happy birthday, father-in-law. Good dad, good second dad to have. Wouldn't wish for anyone other. And then made my way across town to go to my sister-in-law's house where she put us on for this amazing seafood broil. Whole bake across the whole table. So if you see me at any point of the podcast where I start nodding off, just like give me a holler and I'll come out of my food coma and join you for the conversation.
There you go.
No, but it's been a good day. Got to hang out with all the moms, and I wish all the moms out there a good Mother's Day, whether young or old. You're a mom, if you're a grandmother, if you're a guardian, you do the hard work that no one sees, and it goes unappreciated. You should get all the days in the calendar year to appreciate yourselves and has others appreciate you as much for what you do. So shout out to all the moms out there.
Definitely shout out to all the moms, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for you guys, well, guess what? None of us would probably be here. So at the end of the day, we thank all of you out there. I know my wife, she has given birth to 4 beautiful children, and that was a sight to watch. So at the end of the day, we thank all your moms. Thank you so much, and happy Mother's Day. But you know, we do have a lot of great things when it comes to Final Score as well. But to make sure you stay up to date on all things Final Score, you have to make sure to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. You can find us everywhere now. Just go give us a like, a follow, subscription. Check out everything that we're doing, and more importantly, drop us a line, give us a rating, let us know how we're doing, because we always trying to bring the very best show that we can, and we always like to know that we're at least doing a good job, and if we're not, we'll try and do better. But we also are on a bunch of different content platforms, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. Go on to any of those platforms and search for Final Score, one word, and you'll be able to find us there and give us a follow, a like, a subscription. That way you can always stay up to date on the latest content from Final Score, as well as finding us on Podcast City Network. Oh, I don't have the banner above me. Podcast City Network. All you have to do is go to podcastcity.net/Final Score, and you can find all the greatest content there from us as well. And you can also find Podcast City Network on all their social media outlets. And Craig, aren't we on that thing called PodChaser? What's that all about?
PodChaser, what's your daily source for podcast discovery? Apple Podcasts is no longer the only credible place to rate and review podcasts. PodChaser gives you the opportunity to follow creators, browse every podcast ever made, and rate and review episodes individually. You can go to podchaser.com and search keyword Final Score, one word. You can go ahead and give us a follow, a rate, and review. And that PodChaser has begun to roll out a lot more really cool and interesting content that not many other places have been doing. I mean, they're coming out with new and innovative ways to have us connect with other podcasts and other content creators. And I mean, they're just kind of the cutting edge right now when it comes to podcast discovery. Podchaser.com, keyword Final Score.
Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. And you can also find us on Bullhorn. Bullhorn puts a new spin on listening to podcasts. Bullhorn's mission is to extend the reach of podcasts to everyone's ear, regardless of location or income. No data or expensive smartphone needed. You can stream from your device or call into your podcast of choice without using up your data. You can download for any Apple or Android device. Just search keyword Final Score, one word, and give us a follow and a listen for free. Man, so much great stuff happening. And we have one other thing that's really awesome and happening with us, Craig, don't we?
Yeah, we want to give a shout out quick to Alec and Sean at Radius Digital Marketing. They've been really helpful in us building our brand and expanding our audience. They specialize in ad management, lead generation, brand awareness, and social media marketing. If you want to take your business to the next level, contact Alex at alexnuzis@radiusdm.com. That's ALEKANUZIS @radiusdm.com for more information.
That's right. Definitely make sure to check them out. We are now powered by them, so might as well go check them out too. So a lot of great stuff. All things happening here at Final Score, but we can't forget one important thing that we like to touch on now every week, near and dear to our hearts now, and that is the Rugby Review. Kevin, what do you got for us, bud?
Got good news for you guys. Good news coming out of the NRL, coming out of Down Under, May 28th. Chris, we're going to do a little exercise. I'm a teacher, so I like to do exercises here to train my students. George, you're going to participate in this one.
Let's go.
So, Chris, you're going to say 18. You got it?
18.
That's
okay.
it. That's your only instructions. Just say 18. George, you got days. You ready?
Yeah.
On the count of 3. Chris, you're going to take the lead on this one. 3,
right.
2, 1.
18.
Days.
18.
Give it to me again.
Days.
One more time.
18.
Days. All days.
18 days. You hear it, gentlemen? You hear
Yes.
it, ladies? 18 days until we have live collision sports. Rugby League is coming to us. May 28th is still the date. Things are looking good. We are reopening parts of America. There is signs that things are looking to the hope side of things. We're seeing some hope. We're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. 18 days away from live collision sport in Rugby League. NRL. But along with all that good news, I got to present you some bad news coming out of the NRL. They're in Australia. They're going to switch to a 2-to-1 referees on the field. So you're only going to have one referee that is live on the field. Obviously, you're going to have some pushback from the referees on this one because obviously if you have two referees on the field, the game is better managed. It looks better on their end, and also they get paid. If you're not one of those referees on the field, you're obviously very upset with this decision because you just cut half your workforce. So switching to 2-to-1 is not a good thing for the referees. So they are fighting this thing. Will they win? Probably not. Another big thing coming out of Australia is that with Mother's Day being in lieu, you have a lot of players that were unable to visit their moms today during Mother's Day. I know for me, that would kill me, not able to visit my mom during Mother's Day. But there is a big discussion going on nowadays where these players were told to vaccinate themselves or they cannot play.
Man, that's crazy.
It was a no jab, no play type thing. If you don't take a jab, you're not going to play in the NRL. So there's a lot of anti-vaxxers that play in the NRL that were obviously giving some pushback to this new regulation, this new rule. So they're trying to basically coordinate, which I eventually see this same policy being carried out in the States here in the coming weeks. When we start opening things up like the NBA and the NHL, I know the NHL was talking about a 24-game playoff, and I know opening up the NFL and all these things. Well, Australia is already going through this because they're opening up the NRL on May 28th, and they're trying to keep the players as contained as they need to. Well, players want to obviously go visit their family and their moms, but you don't know who mom's been going in contact with during the week. Maybe she goes to the grocery store. Maybe she visits with family. Maybe she visits with the mailman who had contact with several other people. So the NRL players, even though they're at training right now, they're kept on very close quarters and very close watch in order to limit the exposures that they're taking. So a lot of these players, they're sacrificing being able to restart on the 28th, which is a good thing, but they're unable to visit their moms during Mother's Day today. Another thing that kind of stuck out to me when I was reading through all this dialogue was if you're in a separated marriage, meaning if we have a player in the NRL, he's divorced his wife, he had kids with his ex-wife, he needs visitation, and a lot of families are like that way. I'm going to go visit my kids. Well, they're telling some of these NRL players right now that they can't even go visit their kids because of that same exposure thing that I brought up before. So you're to the separated marriages within the NRL, you're telling them they can't visit with their kids. So there's a lot of issues that are starting to play out here that we didn't see at the beginning. And these are things that are going to have to be tied in order for us to move forward, in order for us to get this restart on track and play out these May 28th games and go forward with the season. All these questions are going to have to be answered. The one good thing I'm going to end with a plus note on here is Queensland. Remember I talked about in the previous episode, you had the two different provinces. You have New South Wales, you have Queensland that battle each other in the State of the Origin series.
Right.
Queensland was kind of being the tough guy stance on the stay-at-home orders and keeping everybody quarantined. They're kind of relaxing on that policy now. They're kind of seeing the plus signs, the hope signs that are coming out on areas that are relaxing in the orders, and Queensland's going through with the same ideology, basically. They're saying maybe we should relax these policies, let the players get back to playing. They haven't repealed it entirely, but they have relaxed on some of those issues that they're taking a strict stance on at the beginning. So hopefully we see a restart in 18 days. Let me hear it, Chris, one more time. 18? Oh,
Days.
missed out. There we go. Let's go, boys. 18 days.
Man, 18 days. I'll tell you what, I'm really excited just to see some kind of sports going that isn't just, a funny UFC fight. So at the end of the day, it's going to be nice to see actual contact sports happening. So I honestly can't wait. But we do have a rugby team spotlight. Who we got this week, Kevin?
We got this week a team up in the north, not too far north, in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Atlanta Braves, the chokers of the MLB. Every time they get in the playoffs, they choke. The choker Atlanta Falcons that are up 28-3 in a Super Bowl and don't finish the deal. We're talking about the Hawks.
Don't you forget about the Thrashers. Come on. Don't you forget about the
old
Atlanta Thrashers. One of the best NHL expansion teams ever.
Hey, what that Atlanta Thrashers game? I went to one a number of years ago, and I tell you what, it was so hopping. Like I was probably one of 100 people there, but still, it was a lot of fun.
It's like the Panthers games. It's like the Panthers games.
What there?
No, you better go to the interview, Kev. You better go to the interview. I'm telling you right now.
But who we got on that team spotlight?
Anyways, we got one of the most successful teams. They don't choke when they're under pressure. They got some studs on their team. I'm talking downright studs. Most of these are Pacific Islanders, and they will run you over and then buy you a beer after the game. Tough dudes out of Atlanta. The Atlanta Rhinos, they are great group of guys out of Atlanta. I got to sit down with the owner of the Atlanta Rhinos. I'm so happy he agreed to the interview because he gave me phenomenal content, and he's a great dude all around. He captained the USA side with the USA Hawks. So you're talking a dude that's been on the very top of the ladder. He's also captained his side as a player and also as an owner. So he's had to fill both shoes on both ends of it. And he succeeded in both those. In 2017, Atlanta had one like mine. They won a nice little natty in 2017. So congrats to that boys on those teams, because I had to play those teams and they were not fun, to say the least. They came with a punishment. So I hope you guys enjoy the interview. Get it. Hey, I'd like to welcome on the show tonight, episode 57 of Final Score here on the Rugby Review. We're doing our team spotlight on the Atlanta Rhinos. Talked to him earlier in the week and said, hey, we need to do a sit down. And I'd like to welcome on the show tonight the owner of the Atlanta Rhinos, Nick Newland. How's it going tonight?
Good, man. Good, man. Hope you're doing well. Glad to be here. We can't be playing right now, but we can talk about it, and that's the good thing.
Good thing. See, you've been working out. I've been following you on social media. I see you got this home gym. It's been growing.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I know a lot of guys have been struggling with that, but me and my wife decided to kind of turn the garage into a gym space last winter. And so far, thank God that we made that decision. I've got a rack in there and a bar and some weights, and it's been keeping me going between that and running up and down the neighborhood and the hill and whatnot. So, yeah, thank God for that, because I couldn't get by doing living room workouts, squatting up and down on the couch and whatnot.
And you're getting ready. Well, you're supposed to be getting ready for this upcoming match that was supposed to take place this Saturday. If you see that being rescheduled.
It's crazy to think about. Actually, I forgot it was supposed to be this weekend, because with all this stuff going on, time just disappears. It would have been a good match. It would have been a good redemption game against Jamaica. As you know, you played in the last game we played them in Jamaica I believe that was last June.
Last June, correct. Yep.
Yeah, so it would have been a good match to get back at them on our home field with probably some new players. So definitely getting ready for that was next in line. But as you know, and as everybody knows, with what's going on, that was finally turned off, I think, about 3 weeks ago, because Jamaica just wasn't going to be able to make it here. So hopefully we can get that rescheduled. Word is that we can. And then that'll be a good warm-up match till we play them, Canada, and what's the team from South America that comes up?
The Chile team.
Chile, yeah, them and Chile in the Americas Championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully that will take place and we can have a nice curtain raiser against Jamaica. And like you said, get that game back from them that they took from us there in Kingston. Um, so let's rewind a little bit. You're originally from Wisconsin, right?
Yep, originally from Wisconsin, born and raised just a little bit north of Milwaukee. Growing up playing all sorts of sports. I played football, basketball, track, did a little bit of baseball here and there too. So
So
quite a
you're
sports background.
obviously a Brewers fan, correct? Being that close to Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, all the big Wisconsin sports: Brewers,
Support your Bucks.
Packers.
I
Bucks,
knew
yeah.
I knew you were a Packers fan. That's why I had to go with the Lions cap tonight.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely die hard. Green Bay Brewers is you're just kind of born and raised into it with baseball in the Midwest, and always followed the Bucks. But now that we've been really good the last few years, and following Giannis has been exciting. The city's really excited about it as well, so that's always fun to follow and keep track of.
Yeah, not
Hopefully
only
we get
do you
the
have
NBA
Giannis,
back.
not only do you have Giannis, you also have Yelich over there with the Brewers.
Yeah, exactly. It's been kind of I think they went almost 3 years in a row with Rodgers an MVP, and then Yelich, and then Giannis. So it's been good back in Wisconsin with sports.
Badgers
but
fan as well.
Yeah, you name it.
I should have put on the Go Blue Michigan as well to encompass the.
haven't been converted to anything else. I've been here in Atlanta since late 2012. My wife's a Falcons fan, and she's actually a Florida State fan because she went to school there. But she won't convert me to any of those teams.
What about hockey? Wild fan?
No, if and when I followed hockey up there, it was usually Chicago.
Gotcha.
They were closer, but we had a little minor league.
See right there. The
Oh yeah, there you go. Detroit, yeah. We had a little. What do they call it? What's the minor league hockey? I can't remember off the top of my head. AHL maybe. Anyway, we had a team in Milwaukee that was local there called the Admirals. We followed them pretty closely, and they're the feeder team for Nashville for the Preds now.
Okay. Now, is there a team in Atlanta? Because I know the Thrashers vacated and kind of left that market without a
Thrashers are gone, yeah. And then I think there's I think it's the AHL, might be even a different league in Gwinnett County, which is about 45 minutes from me, called the Gwinnett Gladiators, I believe. I haven't gone over to check out one of their games yet.
And then
someday.
Being from Wisconsin, you also were enlisted or officer program, or I know you're part of the Marines, and we had a former Marine, I believe, on here last week, and David Olch. He was part of the Marine Corps too, as well. So
yeah, we both were. I don't know if we overlapped. I think we may have a little bit. So I joined the Marine Corps in 2008, graduated high school in 2005, dabbled in college a little bit, didn't really love it, was on and off, and decided in 2008 that I needed to find a path, and the Marine Corps was it. So enlisted in 2008, and was in 2008 to 2012 with 2 deployments to Afghanistan, one in late 2010 and then again late 2011. So, I kind of picked up rugby right before I joined the Marine Corps in college at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. They had a pretty good college program back in the day. So started playing with them, played a game or two while I was in the Marine Corps while I had some time. And then as soon as I got out and moved to Atlanta, I picked up playing rugby again.
How'd you end up in Atlanta from Wisconsin? Is that just a move within the Marines?
Yeah, well, the Marine Corps had me down in the South. I was in North Carolina, and that's where I met my current wife when I was in the Marine Corps. And she lived here in Atlanta. So it was either, go back home to Wisconsin or stay in the South. And Atlanta's obviously, much larger city than Milwaukee. So it kind of intrigued me to come and move here with her. And that's what I did. That's what I decided to do.
So after that decision, obviously that's a huge decision moving from the Midwest. I'm also a transplant from the Midwest, moving down from the suburbs of Southeast Michigan, coming down here. Totally new culture. Great food down here in the South, obviously. I can see I've packed on the pounds over the years I've lived down here. I swear they throw butter on everything. But how did this morph into like being a former Marine, dabbling in rugby here and there, and then this morphed into being an owner of a USARL team?
Yeah, so when I moved here to Atlanta, again, like I said, I picked up rugby again with some local clubs, played some D3, and then moved out, played some D2 rugby with the Atlanta Renegades. And I had no idea about rugby league, to be honest with you. And I kind of heard rumblings that they were bringing a team to Atlanta. So I started to get a pretty good relationship with the owner of the Renegades, or one of the guys that ran it, Bob Taylor. And he told me about the team coming. Found out about a tryout there, and that was spring, around this time, 2014, when basically the Axemen, instead of continuing to travel up north and pay all those travel fees, decided to kind of start a Southern League, for lack of a better term. They kind of started it and funded the 3 teams, Atlanta, Tampa, and Central Florida at the time. So I jumped on the opportunity to kind of fit my style of play with rugby union, which I was kind of an inside center flanker type position. So when I heard about rugby league, I kind of did a little bit of research on it, found out about the game and thought it would work well. Went out to that initial tryout weekend, which was an eye-opening experience. It was really awesome, and showed how dedicated the coaches that came over from Australia were to making this sport something special here in Atlanta. And then was named team captain after the preseason, going into our first season, which I was really proud of, really excited about, happy to take that on my shoulders and kind of lead as best I could a bunch of guys that had never played rugby league before. And it was a great opportunity, and I guess the rest is kind of history. We've had some good seasons, and as the Axemen kind of relinquished ownership of the other Southern teams, the opportunity kind of presented itself. And after 3-4 years of being heavily involved and captaining the team and doing behind the scenes work, I kind of stepped up to run the team going forward.
All right, and that was such a great interview, I ain't gonna lie. But obviously, that wasn't all of it. So, Kevin, where can we find the rest of that interview?
So you guys got a snippet of that great piece there with Nick Newland, and you're going to want to hear the rest of what I got to say with Nick Newland. We go into more in depth about the USA Hawks. We talk about the national levels. We talk about a little bit of international rugby. We talk about all the greats that have played there in Atlanta and all the greats that are looking to come to Atlanta to play a high-level rugby league competition and hopefully one day represent their nation playing on the international side. You can find the rest of that interview at YouTube. Just type in the search bar PCN FinalScore and you'll find the rest of that interview there. You can also find it on our Facebook page. We'll also be posting it there at a later date. You can find the interview. Please check in. Please have a listen. Nick Newland was very courteous to sit down and chat with me and talk about it. And at the very end of the interview, for those listening in that Atlanta area and know anything American Rugby League related, I talk about who would win a head-to-head matchup between Celeste the Great and Nick Newland. And I'm going to tell you, Nick Newland's response was not the one I was expecting.
I was
expecting a response more humble. I was expecting a response. And he basically said, I will stand. I'm not going to spoil it. You got to listen to the interview.
No spoilers.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great answer.
Check in for our Facebook for the rest of the interview, but check it out. But getting into our Wathans Wallops for this episode, I'm looking at an Atlanta Rhinos team, and I'm dissecting the film, and what I noticed was these dudes can hit offense, defense. If I was talking American football, special teams as well on the kickoffs. These dudes are running through people. They are running over top of people. They are stomping on them. When they're in defense, they're attacking as a unit. They're putting you on your ass. You're feeling every single punch that these guys are throwing. And I've been on both ends of it. I've been on the giving end and the receiving end. But it seems like every time I play Atlanta, the next morning hurts a little bit more. So with Walton's Wallops, I'm going to lead you to Chris, who's going to take you into our next segment of the show. We're going to show you our top 5 Walton's Wallops.
That's right. We're going to go right now and just go ahead and check out Kevin's top 5 Waffen Wallops. Oh man, I tell you what, that was some really great stuff, especially that last clip where he ended up, they ended up dishing it again, and ended up almost getting knocked down, rolled right through, and kept on running. That was absolutely amazing. Tell you what, it's great stuff.
That was phenomenal, dude. Kev, I gotta ask you, dude. When you're facing these guys, is it about the strength and how hard they hit you, or is it about the timing? Because I saw a couple in there that it was just pure timing. Like, they know when to attack and what angle to hit.
It's very strategic, and they actually went to as far lengths as teaming up with some NFL teams. When the Seattle Seahawks made their phenomenal run all the way up to the Super Bowl, and should have gave it to Marshawn Lynch on the one, but that's another story. They brought in rugby players to teach these tactics for tackling. The proper angles that we need to take, exactly where our head needs to be in a certain type of tackle, where our arms need to be, how to finish a tackle all the way to the ground, and how to release from a tackle and get back to your feet, which is something that's not taught on the American football youth ranks. If you're going to teach tackling, why not teach it from start to finish? Why only teach them half of it? Let's teach kids different scenarios, different tackles they're going to come into, so we teach proper angles. You see some of these big hits, and you're like, wow, that's a big hit. He got laid out. But guess what? Both individuals are standing up from that hit. Both individuals do not have a concussion from that hit because they know where to put their head, and they know that a hit needs to. When I use my top of my head, when I can use my shoulder, that I've been training, I've been doing my shoulder presses, I've been strengthening my shoulders. It's a much harder contact point, and they design these hex pad things that some rugby players wear. I don't condone anybody for wearing them. You can wear them. We're not going to call you a sissy for wearing those pads, but I'm going to hit you with these all natural. I built these. I'm going to hit you with these. This is my weapon. I don't need shoulder pads. And you're seeing that with some of those hits. But both guys stand up all right. So, but that last hit, though, Chris, that you're talking about, they ended up 2017 national champions after that run, that specific run.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It was
You saw
intense.
everybody run in and dogpile in the end zone. You know, it's funny, when I saw that dogpile, when I was editing this, and, you know, I'm really watching the clip, it was so just awesome. Because the full clip. Yeah, you already know where I'm going with this. Our senior year in 2005, when we went on the road against undefeated ranked Seabreeze with Xavier, what was his name? I can't remember his name now. not Xavier Woods. What was his name? I can't even remember. Xavier Lee. There it is.
Xavier
the quarterback
Woods?
who was playing at Florida State.
He's
and we
apparently
beat them
Xavier
at
Woods.
homecoming.
irrelevant because we beat him.
Yeah, made the homecoming
We
queen
beat
cry.
him. She was crying on the sidelines as we celebrated on the 50-yard line and proceeded to dogpile. The best moment of that game, though, was not even the celebration. The celebration was good, seeing the coaches elated and everyone happy, and you see the other side so disappointed because they scheduled us for a homecoming. Do not, if you're in the DeLand area and you're a listener and you have any position on this decision-making process, and I know there's limited people that do not schedule DeLand for a homecoming. We will go into your place and beat you on homecoming. We're not a
Exactly.
homecoming team, plain and simple. We're not a homecoming team.
Nope, never.
So-
Never have been, never will be.
But the best memory of that was getting onto the bus, and I know you remember this, Chris. We get onto the bus.
I remember like yesterday.
And the bus driver turns it onto the local sports talk radio there in Daytona Beach. And they are talking about whatever the segment was. It was like Friday night football or something like that. Something very generic. And they're talking about all the scores from the games. And they came across the DeLand Seabreeze game. We hadn't even left the stadium yet. We were still sitting on the bus. Guys were still coming onto the bus, getting their pads and shit. And we're sitting there listening to it, and it says upset. And to us, when we first heard that broadcast, a lot of us had the same response that you just did, George. Like, what the fuck? This wasn't an upset. We went to your place and beat you when you scheduled us for homecoming. We weren't the underdogs in this situation.
Nope.
As much as you like to see it, we weren't the underdogs, because guess what we were doing on Thursday night? We were eating crab legs in a hotel in DeLand with alumni from DeLand, so confident that we were going to come into your house, whoop your ass, beat you on homecoming night, and then celebrate as we ran through the rest of the schedule, which we did because we had phenomenal athletes.
Until Jacksonville Mandarin. But anyways, it was still a really great season. I still remember that year like no other. It was absolutely amazing. We had 3 losses by a combined 7 points. It was absolutely crazy. But anyways, all that aside though, Kevin, where can they find more of these top 5 Wathans Wallops?
You can find them on YouTube, and what I suggest, I'm talking to you, rugby community, first and foremost, you need to go onto YouTube, PCN Final Score, subscribe, because I know a lot of you guys are forgetful. You got a lot going on in your lives. What time's rugby practice? What time's my rugby team? What time do I need to be hanging out with my wife? What time does my job start? Subscribe to YouTube, PCM Final Score. You'll not only see rugby-related videos, you'll see a lot of sports-related videos that pertain to you. So a lot of good useful information there. Also, look out for the Facebook posts that we post pretty regularly on Facebook, and you guys will be able to tune into all those rugby review that are coming forth. Now, we're going to switch gears with rugby review. We covered almost all the teams in the South. There's one more team I need to cover, and it is the Southwest Copperheads. We're down to the last team in the South. We're going to cover them. I'm hoping, and this is kind of a call to arms if you know him, hoping to get in touch with the owner of the Copperheads, Curtis Goddard. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. There may be a little bit of bad blood there. There may be, I don't know. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying. Peaceful,
Not saying.
olive branch, Curtis Goddard, come speak to me. We got an interview Wednesday night. Okay? We're going to spotlight your team here on Rugby Review. We're going to talk about everything great about the Copperheads. Their location is beautiful. That's why all the millionaires want to go down there and party. Naples is where it's at. We're going to be talking about the team from Naples here next week on the Rugby Review.
That's right. So definitely make sure you come back and check out episode 58 when we will be featuring that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And call to arms, rugby fans. Let's make it happen. But right now, we got to switch gears a little bit to sports movie madness, because we had our final 4, and now we're going to bring it down to what is going to be our championship game for the sports movie madness championship trophy, which, is just kind of a mythical thing. But anyways, it still works, right? At the end of the day, though, it's been really amazing. As you see with the bracket right now, we had Remember the Titans taking on the entire Rocky series, as well as White Men Can't Jump taking on the Mighty Ducks. And I tell you what, it was amazing seeing these votes. I was kind of surprised at how one of them turned out, and I don't know, guys. I don't know if you're ready for this. You guys ready for this?
Let's
I
hear
don't think we're ready. Wait, no,
I'm ready.
We have to be.
I'm ready.
We have
Let's
to
do
be.
this.
It's live. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. We got to be ready. So, on the left side of our bracket, we had Remember the Titans and the Rocky series going through the votes. This one actually ended up being decently close, but of course, we have to have a winner. Who do you guys think the fans voted for? Craig, we're going to start with you.
Man, you're talking about two of the most well-known sports movies of all time in Remember the Titans and the Rocky series. Doesn't matter if you like 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter which one you like. Rocky 80, where he's like 100 years old and still goes out and fights and does his thing. But it doesn't matter. We're talking about the whole entirety of the Rocky series, that's a big, big match up there.
Oh, yeah.
I think I already picked last week that I thought that Remember the Titans was going to take out Rocky to move on to the championship, because I thought after it made it through, Rudy was gone. It had a pretty easy path, I thought, until the regional final, and it made it through. So I had them going to the championship. So I'm sticking with my pick.
Oh, man. George, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I know everyone's sticking with their pick, and I could definitely see Remember the Titans being the upset of this week. We've had an upset every week so far in these brackets because our audience, they have different tastes, and they have a certain taste, and it's our generation. So it's like, well, Remember the Titans connects with them a little bit more versus the Rocky series. The Rocky series isn't as available. Remember the Titans is completely available on Disney Plus right now for all the couch dad streamers that are out there that are just like, I'm not going to a movie. I'm not buying no DVD. What the hell is a DVD? I just need something to stream. So, and I threw it up there, and I had to put it out there. I put some trivia questions out there. I don't know. What do you think, boys? You want to run through them for these two real quick?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So we had said for Remember the Titans, it was filming for T.C. Williams High School. They went 13-0, and I put out the question for sports trivia, how many of those wins were shutouts? And surprisingly, I got about 70% that said it was about 5. Only and 30% said 3. I got 0 votes for 9 or 11, but it was actually 9 shutouts, which X Factor Kev brought in as one of his notes and one of his facts when we were talking about Remember the Titans. So it was 9 complete shutouts, and I don't know, I think they pull out another shutout and they might beat the Rocky series based on how I've seen the voting and people interacting, even though Rocky was my pick originally.
Oh,
but
man.
Right.
Crazy.
Through the week, I've heard some rumblings, man. The dog's talking. It's like, no, Remember the Titans.
Craziness. Kevin, do you agree?
I'm still going to stick with Remember the Titans. I've kind of favored them going throughout the brackets. I haven't always picked them, but they seem to find their way here against a Rocky series where I think it's a bit outdated. And a lot of sports fanatics are going to get up in arms and say, how can you dare call my Rocky series outdated because we came out with the Creed 1 and 2. But honestly, Creed 1 and 2 is an entirely different story. And if we're looking back 10 years from Creed, it could be them taking on whoever in the sports movie madness of the future. But I think in the long run, Remember the Titans has a more positive message coming out of this, and I think it moves forward on this.
Oh, man.
And sorry, Chris, not only do you have your Rudy go down, you also have your Philly movie go down in the Rocky series.
Oh, you guys are killing me today. Killer.
But be proud, Chris, because remember one thing: the Rocky movie did one thing, which is a lot of fun. The Rocky steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the trivia questions for Rocky. It was done with the brand new tech of the Steadicam, okay? And those Rocky steps, it was invented by Garrett Jones, and it was the third motion picture to ever use that technology were those Rocky steps. The first movie to ever use it was a movie called Bound for Glory. And I got 80% vote on Bound for Glory. So for my movie fans out there, they knew their shit. So,
They did on
but
that one.
I mean, the Rocky series, the Rocky movie is still gonna go down in history, man. So don't feel bad.
Raise your hand if you ran the Rocky steps. Has anyone? Y'all three? Oh, just
Yeah.
me, Craig. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I used to
Okay.
live. Yeah, I
Take
used to live in
down
Philly.
the Philly jersey,
When
Chris.
did you-
Man. You
When did
can't
you
have
run
a
the
Philly
steps?
jersey without running the Rocky steps. Get
I
out of
didn't
here.
get a chance.
Did you run the?
I
Did you run them like recently?
No, I lived in Philly in like 2014, 2013ish, and that's when I did it when I lived there.
And did you know about the Philadelphia Fight up there rugby league team? We're gonna spotlight them in an upcoming episode.
No,
But
I didn't.
Fight- Yeah, they were actually national champions while you were living in the city multiple times.
Oh,
Nice.
way to go, Craig.
I didn't even. So it's funny. Like I had a roommate that played rugby when I lived there, but I never saw him. Like he never talked about his team or nothing.
Because he played professionally, didn't want you to know Craig for whatever reason. I don't know.
I
thought
guess
he would want
he didn't want me to
Nope.
support his team. Apparently, I don't know.
No VIP tickets for you, man. He was
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm not
know,
gonna
I
cut
had-
this guy's
I had
sideline
nothing.
pass.
But with our bracket, though, between Remember the Titans and the Rocky series, taking 64% of the votes was none other than Remember the Titans as they move on to the championship round of the Sports Movie Madness Tournament. And I tell you what, it's going to be exciting, but they have to meet somebody in the championship. Between White Man Can't Jump and the Mighty Ducks, someone has to win. George, who do you think the fans went with?
I know where the fans went, man. Why is that even a question? It is quack, quack, quack all day. The Mighty Ducks took it, representing right there. All right? It is going to be a Disney finale because Disney owns everything. I heard rumors that they're trying to buy FinalScore too. So, I mean,
I think, hey, they put enough zeros on that number. We might have to make something happen.
We'll have their people talk to our people, and
There
we'll,
you go.
we'll work.
Well,
it
I
out.
don't know. They got to
Work it
deal with
out.
Chris
We'll work
Carnage,
it
and that can get difficult. So I don't know.
That's true.
it's like dealing with bad Santa. You know, it's like we're going to make this, but we're not going to put it out as a Disney film. We're just going to
We're just gonna hold on to this
They're-
property.
They'll just buy it on the cheap, repackage it as
There you
something
go.
completely different, and then just millionaire. Yeah, they'll be millionaires again.
So I had a great class, and we were discussing this, right? One of the things that I do is I work with a foundation. We teach young adults with developmental disabilities. We help them with a job. And so we've been doing stuff a little bit fun during this quarantine. So we taught a sports class, and I brought this bracket to these guys, and man, did they have fun voting for it. But I got so many votes for Mighty Ducks because that's what they knew. That was the popular one. And then I have a few of them that were basketball fans. They're like, what is this White Man Can't Jump movie? Like, they were just legit, didn't know about it. They are too young. Let me be honest.
That's probably
Okay.
true.
They are
That
too
makes more
young,
sense.
right? Now that they're older, you know, I was like, you need to go watch this. And they went and watched it and were like, can I take my vote back? Because they thought it was absolutely hysterical.
I'm sorry. On the website, it says
So-
all votes are final. I'm
Our
so sorry.
final,
I'm so sorry.
exactly.
Just
Yeah,
like final
sorry.
score.
So, I don't know, man. And I want to pose this fun trivia question for you boys, since I put it up there. In the Mighty Ducks, they went to a Minnesota North Stars NHL game, excuse me. And if that is their final season as the Minnesota North Stars, right, before they moved to Dallas, they happen to be playing against a team that would also be relocated. Who was that team? Craig. 'Cause-
Winnipeg.
No. It was not Winnipeg.
Oh, Hartford Whalers.
Bingo! It was the Hartford Whalers, and they relocated to Carolina. And yes, Winnipeg relocated, then went back to Winnipeg.
Yeah,
So-
Atlanta then back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was the Hartford Whalers. My NHL fans and my NHL teams, they went all nuts on that trivia. 90% put the Hartford Whalers. So they knew that shit hands down.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it was nuts.
Absolutely crazy. Craig, what do you think? How do you think the fans voted on this?
Just like in my NHL stream the other night, I think the Mighty Ducks does the triple deke and takes it home. I think it'll be pretty easy. I love both movies, but we were just talking about having a movie night with the kids this weekend. Last night we were trying to watch the Mighty Ducks. It's not on Disney Plus until June 1st because, as George mentioned before the show, it's on HBO for whatever reason, contracts, fun stuff. But we tried to watch the Mighty Ducks, so we couldn't watch it. So we settled for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
you're not settling, but it's okay.
I got weird looks because I may or may not know every single word to all three movies. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just.
I mean, if we had a show about the movies I knew word for word, it would be highly entertaining and probably go viral just because of how crazy it would be. Anyways, all that aside, we're not going to even go there. But Kevin, how do you think the fans went with this one?
They went with Mighty Ducks on this one. I'm going to go with the boys on this one. I was thinking of all the ways I can piss them off and talk about anti-Florida Panthers, anti-Mighty Ducks, anti-Michigan, but at the end of the day, I think it's Mighty Ducks because it appeals more to the people, and no one wants to see Gordon Bombay defeated after it goes off the left post. No one wants to see that. Everyone wants to see the elated Gordon Bombay just won the game, not the left corner post. So I'm going to go with he makes the goal, Mighty Ducks move on.
Hey, Kev, man, it was only a quarter of an inch the other way. It would have gone in.
That's what
much.
said.
Just this much.
Anyways, though, with 85% of the vote, yes, a whopping 85% of the vote, the Mighty Ducks beat White Man Can't Jump and move on to take on Remember the Titans for the Sports Movie Madness title. Are you guys at all surprised? Obviously not. Everybody said Mighty Ducks.
What?
Yeah,
I said Mighty Ducks, but I thought it would be a little bit closer. I'm surprised by the percentage.
Yeah.
To be
85.
honest, I am surprised by the percentage. And White Man Can't Jump is a phenomenal film still. The insults that are in that film, like, you got to watch it just for the insults and the trash talk. The nuances, the whole nine. I mean, this guy, director Ron Shelton, phenomenal sports movie director, directs a bunch of them. No, he did not direct Major League. Just to put that to rest, because it was a 50-50 split all the way between Bull Durham and Major League on the Couch Dad's Pod Trivia. No, it was not Major League. He did not direct or write that one.
Oh,
so it's still a great flick. You got to check it out. But Mighty Ducks, like Craig said, has the appeal to everybody. You know? It has the appeal to everybody. Some of my boys, they went out. You know what they bought recently? The Jamaican jerseys from Mighty Ducks 2.
No way.
Yes.
That's awesome.
They were like, I am buying that jersey. And it looks so fresh, man. I swear to God, it looks awesome.
But the crazy thing is, though, we have this Goliath matchup now for our finals, which is the Mighty Ducks taking on Remember the Titans. And these are two mammoth movies for entirely different reasons, I feel like, because you have the Mighty Ducks, which is really a family film at the end of the day, showing these kids being able to persevere and overcome. But on the flip side, you have Remember the Titans, which I know, at least for me and Kevin, is probably the realest depiction of football that I've seen in a movie for what you have to do, whether it be the summer workouts, your regular practices, plus all the other crap you had to deal with at that time. So with what Remember the Titans did, plus all the social issues that were going on also in the movie, absolute masterpiece. Both of these, whether it be the Mighty Ducks series or Remember the Titans, both masterpieces. So I'm honestly very interested to see how the fans are going to vote on this one, because I think this might be the narrowest of votes that we might ever have with this entire tournament. George, your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. It's a Disney versus Disney battle, So we're talking about, in terms of production value, you get the exact same thing. There, you can't be like, well, this was a smaller production. It didn't have as much hype to it. X, Y, Z. You can't do that. Remember the Titans had Denzel Washington in it. It had a bunch of young actors. Yes, including Ryan Gosling is in that movie. Let's just, yeah, he's in that movie. I mean, if the guy looks any better, he's going to, make us all go to the gym. Freaking jerk.
Make us go to the gym. Oh my gosh. George, are you okay over there?
Yeah.
Do you need a moment?
I'm fine. And then you got Gordon Bombay, Emilio Estevez on the other side, Joshua Jackson, so the acting is also phenomenal. You can't compare in terms of production value. They're both really great. It's all going to be about preference, and I feel whatever the best lines, the comedic lines, is it Sunshine or is it Cake Eater?
I don't know, Sunshine, man. You can't really go wrong.
That's gonna be what it comes down to. What is the funnier line? Calling somebody Sunshine or calling them a cake eater?
I don't know, Craig. Your thoughts?
We're talking about two movies that are two of arguably the most beloved sports movies of all time, regardless of sport, and You've got passionate football fans, passionate hockey fans. A lot of times, sometimes they cross between the two, but I think this will be a really, really tight race between these two movies. But at the end of the day, I'm going with the Mighty Ducks. I think that just speaks to our generation. We all watched as kids. I was telling you, now with, we were talking about on previous episodes that they're renewing it, and Bombay's coming back, and they got Emilio Estevez, and they got a few other people to come back to do a series on Disney Plus. So I don't think Remember the Titans is ever going to be, redone or, touched up or a series or anything like that, because it doesn't need to be. But, I think just the kind of the freshness of the Mighty Ducks, I think, is really going to play in a lot of people's heads, and it's one of the most iconic movies of all time.
Definitely. Kevin, do you agree?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Craig, I'm going to take what you said and use it against you here. You ready?
Oh, boy.
Let's do it.
You said, Remember the Titans doesn't need to be touched up, right? Doesn't need a series, doesn't need sequels, doesn't need prequels, because it is the better movie in this instance.
Ooh.
Very true.
Mighty Ducks 2, Mighty Ducks 3, whatever they went to on the Mighty Ducks series. They're all great, don't get me wrong. But Remember the Titans, standalone, can take on movie after movie after movie in this bracket, can also stand the time of, I can show this to my niece right now and she would get it. She would get the message that's trying to be portrayed in the movie. I can show it to my mom. She can get the same message out of this movie as what I take from the movie. So I think the fans are going to vote in that instance that they've watched it. They've reminisced with this movie. They've kind of made it their own, like me and Chris have with our perspective of football. You can watch it as a non-football fan and still get a good, beautiful message out of this movie. And I think that's what moves it a little bit head over shoulders over the Mighty Ducks. Don't get me wrong, Mighty Ducks is great. I love it. I was a fan. I had a jersey myself. But I think Remember the Titans has the advantage in this series.
Yeah, honestly, I have to agree. Remember the Titans and everything it brings to the table. Plus, with the amount of social issues that were ingrained in the storyline as well, I think play a huge impact and might help propel it just ahead of the Mighty Ducks because, like I said earlier, the Mighty Ducks is more of a family film. So with that, it's limited by its scope, and I think the Remember the Titans is going to ring a little bit harder with the fans out there, especially for everything it represented and with how the movie ended. And honestly, I'm sorry, on the comedy side, come on, Sunshine, come on.
No.
At the end of the day, though, I think it's going to be great.
It's going to be one hell of a matchup, boys, that's for sure. And we're talking about some great movies that we've had in this bracket overall. There's so many great ones out there, and this could have gone a number of different ways. We had so many close races that we could be talking about completely different ones in the Final Four if one vote went, the other way, if one or two people voted before the deadline or whatever the case may be. But in the end of the day, in my opinion, it does not matter because a knuckle puck coming through your window is definitely more effective than a brick, and it's going to be the Mighty Ducks. I'm sorry.
Or a toilet if you paid attention to
Or a
previous
toilet
episodes.
if you went with the original. Thank you, Craig, for bringing that up, man. That's awesome. If you went with the original script.
Right.
Sorry, man. Denzel he could be King Kong all he wants. He ain't got nothing on Bombay.
Oh man, I tell you, this is gonna be monumentous. Though I feel this matchup's gonna be really great, and I think the fans are gonna have a good time with this. But if you want to vote on it, you got to make sure you go over to podcastcity.net. The poll is open now, so definitely go and vote for who you think should win the Sports Movie Madness tournament, whether it be Remember the Titans or the Mighty Ducks series. Go vote for your favorite. Do so now. Podcastcity.net. Click on the Sports Movie Madness logo and cast your vote right now, and it will be open until this Thursday, May 14th at 11:59 p.m. because after that it will close, and as will Sports Movie Madness be done. It's going to be crazy, so get your votes in. Do it now. Serious up. What are you waiting for? Go do it now. So, tell you what, it's been a great episode, guys. I've had a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I think pulling this out may or may not have been a good idea. I guess we'll find out here in a little bit, especially when I watch the playback tomorrow morning. So.
Yeah, I think it may have helped because of all the technical issues that we have. But hey, when we work on a shoestring budget, when we work on a shoestring budget, this is what we have to deal with.
Damn it, Chris Carnage! This is what you make me do when you give us a shoestring budget. Look, I can't even English right now.
You can't even speak right now.
I've been having trouble speaking too, man. It's been a long day, boys. It's been a long day. We've had to dedicate our day to certain things. So the beer, the whiskey, it's all just, you know what? At the end of the day, getting some great content out there for the fans is what it's all about. And it's been a fun ride. Quack, quack, quack.
Absolutely, and definitely make sure that you guys check back tomorrow when all of this will be posted on all of our myriad of different platforms, the audio and video versions, and then you'll also be able to catch the replay of this on Facebook. So definitely make sure to check that out as well, and check out all things Final Score and all our myriad of different social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. You know where to find us. Definitely make sure and go check it out. But real quick, before we wrap this thing up, Craig, where are we at with our COVID-19 Sports Movie Madness fundraiser drive we're doing?
I'm just double checking right now, but we're still at $340 out of our $1,000 goal.
Come on, fans.
But if you want to vote, go ahead. We still have one more week of being able to donate. So if you want to do it, go to Venmo, Campbell2787, and we are going to have we're going to reveal next week at the end of Sports Movie Madness where all of this money is going to be going to help people that have been affected by COVID-19. So if you want to donate, go. It'll be attached in the description as well as on podcastcity.net for the Sports Movie Madness voting.
Definitely. So definitely make sure to go check that out. And, we're really trying to help people because the coronavirus pandemic and everything with COVID-19 has really swept the world around, and it has impacted people more than anyone could ever think. So definitely make sure, if you are able to, please donate so we can try and help people that have been greatly affected by this, because not everybody's been as fortunate as some of us have been. So please try and help if you can. But we also have some other stuff going on. Craig, haven't you been streaming lately?
Yeah, we kicked off the FinalScore stream team. That was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. But we're starting to get a pretty consistent schedule with streaming. We're streaming a couple different games. Tomorrow night, Monday, we're going to be doing NCAA 14. We do that twice a week. We stream NHL 18 twice a week, and we're trying to sprinkle in a few other games here and there while we bring on and wait for Chris to get up to speed and he can start streaming too.
I was about to say, I promise I will be live streaming at some point, whether it's as me or as Chris Carnage. It does not matter. Eventually, it will happen. We promise.
Yeah.
But dealing with all this craziness, with the internet.
Yeah, you could still find that on Twitch. We stream live on Twitch and Facebook, and then we're still working out the kinks with YouTube, but we're working on trying to live stream on YouTube as well.
Damn YouTube. But we'll get it worked out eventually. But honestly, though, thank you guys so much for sticking with us through this broadcast. We know we had our technical difficulties in our round 2 of trying to do this, but we thank you so much for sticking with us. And we hope that you guys will join us next week when we bring you episode 58, Sunday at 9 p.m., when we bring you the next rugby review along with our team spotlight and top 5, as well as the finals of the Sports Movie Madness Tournament. I tell you what, I can't wait. Polls are open. Please go vote. PodcastCity.net. But until next week, I'm Chris, that's Craig, and George, and Kevin, and you guys have just watched Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.